All right. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the parts of the world. My name is Raymond, aka A Ray of Sunshine 21. Welcoming you to another edition of A Ray of Sunshine, bringing positive stories to light. And tonight, we got 7 positive stories, three. I have to make sure I got it right. Three motivational videos. I have not done that in quite some time. I know I've done like two, and then we go into other segments of videos, but tonight's focus will be just motivational videos for the main part of videos. So I got three of those, and also we're going to end it out with quotes this evening with some famous philosophers with their own versions of their quotes. So we got a good show this evening. So glad everybody can join in, and remember to auto host this uh, show to your Twitch channels, and also share it out to your social medias like Facebook, Twitter, as we try to spread some positivity in 2023. I felt like I haven't said that in a while. Usually I just chat with the people and I just jump into the story. So that will bring that back up again because usually I always do like saying that all the time. Um, Sharing out and bringing some positivity into 2023. So if you guys are ready, we're going to go ahead and get started with our first story for this evening. And let's go ahead and put it up right now. And this one, get a water here real quick. He's already. This one, I don't know if I scrolled past this last week while I was doing the selected stories, but I checked the story out. I was like, I can't believe I went past this. So we're going to go ahead and let this be the first main story for this evening here. A Florida 3-year-old was rescued from a sunken vehicle after police performed CPR. Best cry I ever heard. And this is from Andy Corbley of the Good News Network for April 17th of 2023. And all the stories for this evening are from the goodnewsnetwork.org, so make sure to check them out. Great website. And any stories that are not shown um, on the show this evening will be on their website. Again, they got stories from last week, the last month, last year, even years down the line. So make sure to check them out. TheGoodNewsNetwork.org. Great website for your positive news. So if you guys are ready, we're going to go ahead and get started with story number one for this evening. 1 out of 7 this evening. And again, a Florida 3-year-old was rescued from a sunken vehicle after police performed CPR. Best cry I ever heard. So let's go ahead and get started with our first story for this evening. Here we go. There was no mistaking the tears on Officer Emmanuel Walton's face for the river water he had just climbed out of, having just watched a child be revived by CPR. Miami-Dade police responded to an emergency call under a bridge where a car was sinking with a child inside. A request came from the first officers on the scene for backup because despite heroic efforts from Good Samaritans and the driver, no one could get the child strapped to his seat out of the car. Dramatic body, uh, dramatic body cam footage released by the department shows Officer Walton trying several unsuccessful rescues under the water. Quote, I couldn't see through the water, so I had to come back up a couple of times, Walton told Fox News, adding that his instincts as a father drove him on without thinking. He used his sense of touch to locate the car seat inside, pulling with all his strength and without knowing how the seat was attached. It came off and he was able to pull the child out of the water. Continuing on, Walton passed the child to a colleague who administered CPR, and he started breathing again, evidenced by the immediate crying. Quote, when the baby started crying, I started crying too, because it was the best cry I ever heard in my life, Officer Walton said. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the video here um, from a news story here of the rescue that Officer Walton did to get the 3-year-old out of the submerged water. So here we go. Go ahead and mute myself as well.
A newly released body camera video shows the rescue of a 3-year-old boy who was trapped in a submerged vehicle.
Where's he at? Get in there, bro, get in there.
This happened in southwest Miami-Dade County, Florida in February. The vehicle plunged off a road and into a canal when the boy's father swerved to avoid an oncoming car. He was able to get out, but his son was trapped in the car seat. Officer Emmanuel Walton went underwater and used his sense of touch to find the child in the murky water.
Eventually, I felt the baby seat, the car seat, and I pulled it as hard as I could because I couldn't figure out where the seatbelt was or anything of that nature. Luckily, it broke off, and the child was able to pop up to the top of the car. So I snatched him out and I handed him off as soon as I could.
That's incredible.
Wow.
He's even calm reliving the story. Officers then had to perform CPR before the boy started breathing again. His father says he's now in great health.
That is amazing.
The story is remarkable.
Watch breaking news on YouTube. Subscribe to ABC 7 Chicago Eyewitness News.
A newly
All right, so that was Officer Walton there, describing the ordeal, how he got the 3-year-old out of the car. So it's I mean, again, just looking at the photo there, just again, they were under a bridge, under a river there, with the car submerged, and the 3-year-old was strapped in, and no one could save him except Officer Walton. And Officer Walton, with the quick thinking of, trying to get the child out in a good pace and in a hurry before something bad could have happened. So, and he said once he heard the 3-year-old started crying, he said that was the best cry he ever heard. So, very, very heroic for Officer Walton. Did a great, great job of rescuing the 3-year-old boy, and the 3-year-old should be okay. So, a lot of gratitude for Officer Walton over there in Miami. So, kudos to him for his bravery in saving the 3-year-old. And this is the starting story here. So, Florida 3-year-old rescued from sunken vehicle after police performed CPR. Best cry I ever heard. And again, this is from Andy Corbley of the Good News Network for April 17th of 2023. As we move on to story number 2 for this evening, and kind of a little bit, we got a couple of animal stories I'm bringing up to you this evening. And the first one here of our next story here, an ex-racehorse destined for kill pen rescued by a woman who helped raise her. And this is from Andy Corbley of the Good News Network for April 27th of 2023. So we're going to take a look at how the woman here saved the racehorse from a kill pin, which obviously that would have not been good. So if you guys are ready, let's go ahead and get started with our second story for this evening. So here we go. Megan Martin has seen a lot of long faces in her years as a horse trainer, and it was this history that allowed her to turn a potentially sad story into a happy ending. She was just a teenager when she met the young mare Saxy, a horse that was to be trained for racing. So Saxy's the name of the horse, sorry. But having never made a name for herself and collecting only a few $1,000s in winnings, Saxy was sold on as a workhorse. Retired equine athletes in America are often sold to the Amish communities, who use them to pull plows and buggies. And it was during this activity that Saxy was involved in a collision that left her marked for slaughter. Around this time, Martin was all grown up and worked full-time at Red Lion Farm in Gray, Maine. She was scrolling through Facebook and she saw a mare with a brand on her neck that immediately jumped out at her. Quote, "That number is actually what saved her," Martin told the local NBC affiliate. I recognized that brand and said, "Oh, that's one of the babies that I worked with." Her friend and owner of Red Lion, Kendra Gorham, felt as Martin did that Saxy had to come home, that they couldn't let her fall to such a tragic end. Agreeing to split the costs and raise money and supplies whenever possible, the two ladies set off to Pennsylvania to bring Saxy home. Within 48 hours of reaching out to their community, they had enough money and supplies to ensure Saxy had a real chance of recovering from her accident. Quote, people donated blankets, people donated brushes, people donated boots for her feet before we had shoes on her to keep her more comfortable, Martin said. People were so incredibly generous with their energy, with their money, with their things. News Center Maine details the moment when, seeing her old trainer for the first time in years, Saxy wrapped her head around Martin after she entered in her paddock, bringing immediate tears. Excuse me. Once back home, it was clear that the Mar would need slow and careful rehabilitation. Without shoes and with thin hooves, walking was difficult. Furthermore, she had spent her life with strict orders to run fast or pull things. Gentle but precise maneuvering was never something she had to do, and it must now learn. Saxon now works for Martin as one of her horses for a Queen-assisted psychotherapy program for humans suffering from trauma and PTSD. So we're going to take a look at the story here of Saxy and her new owner, and how I guess the story of how she saved Saxy. So here we go.
First tonight, a story about second chances.
And how a woman from Maine has made it her mission to give a former racehorse a fresh start.
Yes, good girl. Yes.
When you think about training a horse, you most likely don't envision walking around in circles.
That's okay. Good job. Good girl.
But every week, Megan Martin can be found here at Red Line Farm in Gray, working with her horse Saxy.
Hey, walk on.
Just like this.
She just gets to learn how to be a horse. She's always kind of had a job and a purpose, and it's been to go fast and pull things for people. Good girl. It doesn't look like much. It's a lot of just walking her around and turning with her and getting her to kind of refocus and pay attention and move her body where I would like her to move her body and not just where she would like to move her body.
Saxy was destined for a kill pen in Pennsylvania when Megan came across her photo in a Facebook group earlier this year. As it turns out, the two have a history.
And that number is actually what saved her. I recognized that brand and said, oh, that's one of the babies that I worked with.
Megan was a teenager when she first met Saxy at the barn she worked at. The pair and their training were even in a magazine.
And this is actually a photo of me and Saxy working together when she was a few months old. And this is what I did. I taught them all how to wear the halters and how to lead and how to walk away from their moms, which they didn't like to do.
Eventually, Saxy would be sold and go on to compete on the racetrack, though she never really made a name for herself.
These were her when she was 3 and at the height of her not very prolific racing career.
Like so many others, when Saxy's time was up as a competitor, she was sold to an Amish community in Pennsylvania. Megan believes Saxy was involved in a buggy accident, causing major damage and scarring to her neck, and the decision to have her euthanized.
I've never come across one in this situation. It was always kind of my worst nightmare.
Megan immediately felt compelled to rescue Saxy, and so did her close friend, Kendra.
And I sat for probably 2 days watching the Facebook posts and sharing them and staring at her picture. And I just remember sending her a message that said, I will feed her and I will board her and she can stay here. I will help you pay her vet bills and I will go get her with you. We can't leave her there. She has to come home.
The race to save Saxy was on. Within 48 hours of Kendra's message, Megan had received enough money and supplies to bring Saxy back to Maine.
People donated blankets, people donated brushes, people donated boots for her feet before we had shoes on her to keep her more comfortable. People were so incredibly generous with their energy, with their money, with their things.
When the two finally got to Pennsylvania, they say it didn't take long for the horse to recognize her former handler.
When we got to the farm and we pulled in, and I was like, she's in there. And we jumped out and ran in. And Meg walked up to her and she literally just sniffed her and wrapped her head around her. And I was like, yep, I started to cry. It was a pretty cool moment.
I don't know if she remembered me or not. My gut says there was something familiar there for her, and that she recognized me in some way.
Saxy was loaded into the truck and brought back home to Maine. Then the focus shifted to Saxy's hooves.
They were in a little bit of a rough condition. She had some road founder, some thin soles. It's painful to walk on. It's like having, no skin on the bottom of your feet and then walking across hot tar.
After 15 years apart, Megan and Saxy are now inseparable.
She's so resilient and she's so trusting, and it's been incredible to see her be safe and be okay, despite what she's been through. She's really not afraid of people.
Once she gets the training she needs, the goal is for Saxy to help others by becoming a therapy horse.
I have a really small little equine-assisted psychotherapy practice, and I work with people with PTSD and trauma, and I think that a lot of people would really relate to her story, would really relate to the people who were supposed to keep you safe didn't, and the people who were supposed to take care of you let you down. She's not ready to be in the program yet, but someday if she's ready, she'll tell us. And, if that's what she wants to do, then that's what she's gonna get to do. Otherwise, she'll just get to be happy and safe and healthy.
Despite the hardships she's faced, Saxy is having no trouble fitting in at her new home. A reality that never would have been possible without lots of love and a little bit of luck.
Good girl. She's my horse legally, yes, sure. And she'll be legally in my name for the rest of her life. But I didn't do this. This was her whole community who brought her home. I just got to be the person who was lucky enough to make it happen.
So Megan sent me this photo of Saxy playing out in the snow a couple weeks ago that I just had to share because she's gorgeous. And we might be ready for spring, but obviously Saxy's holding on to winter. And just another little fun fact. So in addition to Saxy, Megan has two other horses. One of them just happens to be Saxy's half sister. So she's hoping to reintroduce the two at some point. And if you at home, if you're just as captivated as we were by her story, you can follow her journey to becoming a therapy horse on TikTok. So many good things about this story.
Yeah, there's a lot of heartwarming reunions going on there.
Yeah.
Much deserved.
So incredible video of Megan and Saxy there. That's incredible, just to find out, like, hey, Saxy got into an accident in Pennsylvania, and Megan tried so hard to rescue her and got her there in Maine with help with the community as well. So that's an incredible video. Also, an incredible story to read of how she got her back, because Megan really cared for her. That was the racehorse that Megan, I guess, want to kind of say grew up with and kind of want to save her. And after 15 years, just try to take care of her again. And now she's going to be a therapy horse to people with PTSD and other stuff. So, incredible story out of Maine with Megan, Kendra, who helped her, the community there, over there in Maine, and Saxy. Saxy's back home and doing all right. So, great story there for story number 2 as an ex-racehorse. That's from Killpin, rescued by a woman who helped raise her. And again, this is for Andy Corbally of the Good News Network for April 27th of 2023. As we move on to story number 3, and I said this is one of the animal stories. Another one, this is a short story, but the video will be amazing. to watch. It says, watch mesmerizing scene of thousands of sheep being herded down an Idaho highway. This is for Andy Corbally of the Good News Network for April 27th of 2023. Hey, Jim, how you doing? Welcome, and thank you for the resub. Really do appreciate you. 16 months. 16 months being on Twitch, guys. 16 months. And without Jim and all of you here, the show would never have happened here on Twitch or made good progress here on Twitch. He's making, I'm here lurking and making dinner. All right, well, lurk on, enjoy the stories, hearing the stories, and yes, time does fly. So, time really does fly. But so good to see you here, Jim, and I will do an early plug for you since you're here. Usually I do this at the end, but since he's here and I put him on Stream Elements, check Jim out tomorrow night on Catalyst, Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. You have a story, have a topic, anything. You got the candle there. Talk your day out. Relieve the stress, as he says. So that's tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. And he also does Saturday Night Trivia, which will be on hiatus for the next 2 Saturdays, but it'll be back May 20th at 10 p.m. Eastern. And one of his categories was DC attractions. I wish I was there. I would have got that. That's my home, DC. So no problem, Jim. No problem. But all right. So let's go back with the story here. And again, this is a short, but it's more video than the story here. And looking at that picture, y'all gonna see an amazing video here. I usually do not watch videos or see some of it during the reading portions, but I had to see it, and the video will do justice after this story here. So if you guys are ready, let's go ahead and go on to story number 3. So here we go. Excuse me, the burp. All right. Some exceptionally managed drone piloting allowed ranchers in Idaho to capture a video of thousands of sheep being herded along the road. As many as 2,600 lambs and ewes were involved in the crossing in the town of Eagle, just one stop on their way towards the Table Rock area, where they would reach the fresh pastures needed to sustain the large flock. Locals gathered in what passes for droves in that rural part of the country. The crossing is a tradition that's marked with a small festival. The footage was organized, captured, and released by Life on the Range, an education outreach program organized by the Idaho Rangeland Resource Commission to help inform and connect Idaho residents and Americans in general with the life, times, and challenges of ranching. So this has no audio, but the video speaks for itself. So I'm going to go ahead and mute myself. I'm going to play the video here and hope you guys enjoy it. incredible. That here chatting with Jim here, and never before you see anything like this. I have never seen anything like this, and uh, I don't know. Maybe in parts of the world this might happen. I don't know, but um, the picture just took me. I'm just like and it's in Idaho, so I'm just like, wow. I've never seen this before, but it really did happen in Idaho. A whole herd of sheep took on a highway and going down the highway there. So now imagine you shut down I-95 and the sheeps go from DC to New York. Wouldn't that be something to see? But um, that was an amazing, amazing video and amazing pictures as well of the stills there. So I wish Sharon C was here because she's a goat. I guess she's kind of a goat farmer. She would have loved this. So hopefully she will see a replay of the show because she would have loved that to see that. But that's amazing. Safe to say that won't be on I-95. Probably will not. It'll be too. Probably for them that'll be Route 66 maybe for them. Just saying, maybe 95 is a gridlock. Maybe you could put some sheep out there, make it more of a gridlock. But anyway, probably Route 66 will be better for them. So, anyway, but so that is story number 3. Is this 3 or 4? I have to count again. But watch mesmerizing scene of thousands of sheep being herded down an Idaho highway, and this is for Andy Corbley of the Good News Network for April 27th. Of 2023. That was that was number 3. So we are on to story number 4 for this evening of 7 for positive stories. And make sure to stay tuned after stories as for positive videos. We're just going to go have motivational speeches. I got 3 videos, different motivational speeches on the same topic, and then we'll do quotes at the very end. So stick around for that, for videos this evening. So story number 4, a hero conductor stops a train to rescue a 3-year-old boy lost on the track. So our first story, we had a water rescue for a 3-year-old boy in a car. Now we have a train conductor saving a 3-year-old boy lost on the train tracks. So this is for Andy Corbley of the Good News Network for April 28th of 2023. So some of these stories involve some kids here. 2 getting rescued, and at the end of this, 1 saving someone. So little preview for what's going to come at the end of stories here. So if you guys are ready, let's go ahead and get started. Hydrate. Don't know what's wrong with my voice. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and get started with story number 4. So here we go. Exactly, yikes. So I'm just glad the conductor has done something, but we'll wait for that. All right. Neither the early morning start nor the distraction of a smartphone managed to take a New York train conductor's eyes off the tracks earlier this week. He spotted a 3-year-old wandering around the tracks dangerously close to an electrified third rail and slammed on the brakes while going 70 miles an hour before warning all traffic that could have been passing through Tarrytown Station of the danger. Once the train came to a stop, cameras showed the assistant conductor, Marcus Higgins, jogging down the tracks to rescue the child. News reports claim the child is autistic and nonverbal. He was separated from his mother when he fell over the side of a barrier and into the cutting where the train tracks sat. Quote, "Emergency, emergency, emergency. I need you to kill rail. We got a toddler on the track," the conductor can be heard saying. Given the child's disability, he didn't take note of Higgins' warnings not to touch the electrified rail. Once it was clear he didn't understand, Higgins' colleagues still on the train started hammering the station to cut the power to the rail. The station responded, and Higgins brought the boy on board the train, where he was later reunited with his mother and sister. Reading that is very terrifying to read there. So now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the video here. So let's go ahead and look at the video, and then I'll get my opinion at the end here.
Scary moments on the Metro North train tracks near the Tarrytown station.
That's right. After a little boy found himself on the train tracks and dangerously close to an electrified third rail, Fox 5's Teresa Priolo live in the studio with this daring rescue. Wow, Teresa.
Yeah, Steve and Natasha, the mom says that this 3-year-old is autistic and nonverbal. He somehow found his way onto the Metro North train tracks and was saved thanks to the coordination of engineers on 2 trains. One thing to note, when you are watching this story, keep your eyes on the top of your screen. That is where you will see the wandering child and just how close he came to being seriously injured.
What is it? Is that it's hot? Yeah. Stop all traffic.
It's someplace you'd never hope to see a person, let alone a child, wandering the train tracks as a train approaches.
Emergency, emergency, emergency. Metro North 737, Hudson C. Agent Kill Rail. We got a toddler here on the track.
April 6th, midday, near the Metro North stop in Tarrytown, a southbound passing train spots a wandering child. As the approaching train stops, assistant conductor Marcus Higgins jumps out. And as he runs to that toddler...
No. Don't do that, don't do that. Where is he going? Where are you going?
For a few heart-stopping moments, we all hold our breath, hoping he reaches him before that toddler hits the third rail.
Metro North 737, see, I need that rail killed immediately, over.
By the grace of God and thanks to the quick thinking of the engineers on board who killed the power, the kid is saved and brought safely on board that train. And as that was happening, the boy's mother and sister were frantically looking for him. The moment recognized at this week's MTA board meeting.
As all of this was going on, Metro North signal maintainers Max Chong and Christopher Freina were headed to the area to see if they could help. En route, they happened upon who turned out to be the boy's mother and sister on a street corner crying. They stopped to ask if they needed help and realized that they only spoke Spanish.
Both baby and mom were reunited on board that MTA train as it returned to Tarrytown Station.
The boy's very relieved mother tells us that her son has autism, was nonverbal, and is only 3 years old.
A moment of quick thinking and compassion resulted in a happy ending and proving not all heroes wear capes. Some wear train conductor caps and worked the midday shift instead.
They were responsive, they were knowledgeable, they were helpful, they saved a child's life.
Everybody involved agrees that sometimes time is on your side and you have the chance to do some good and to save a life, and that is clearly what happened here. Natasha.
Gosh, thank God for them. It could have ended so much differently.
Yeah,
all right.
absolutely.
Teresa, thank you.
Wow. Jim says the engineer was so chill and the assistant jumped out to help. Well, yeah. And we, of course, we answered the question. That parent needed to stay next to that kid. How could she let him get away? I mean, probably if the mother and sister knew, so maybe he wandered out of the house. Probably, I would not be surprised. He just got out of the house. Just wandered on his way. There's a lot of questions to that, but just glad that he's alive and safe, and very frantic moment there, and the conductor there and the assistant, as I said, on the train, quick thinking. He was very calm, and got the boy to safety. That's the main key there. So that's an incredible story out of New York there, and just glad that the 3-year-old is okay, and yeah, just incredible story there. Hey Gemma's in here. What's up? Hey there, Ray. It's nearly 2 a.m. here, so just stopping by to say hello. Well, thank you for stopping by, Gemma. And speaking of that, see the 2 people that I plug at the end over here. So since Gemma's here, we're going to go ahead and plug it already now. So Mental Health Hour, Tim and Gemma, tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. UK. Join them to very, very great at what they do over at the Mental Health Hour, helping people in a scenario. They give a topic, they give their opinions. They're not medical professions. We have to put that in there, but they got great opinions to situations. And tomorrow night they're going to do domestic abuse. So I will show the graphics at the end of the show on that one. But they do a little bit of a serious topic on that, though, domestic abuse. And so make sure to tune in tomorrow night. That should be a good episode there to watch. And oh, I changed my username and stuffed up. Oh, that's right. Did I keep the old? I bet I kept the old one. Did I? I'm gonna change that, Gemma. I'm gonna change it on the Stream Elements. Thank you for saying that. So yeah. So make sure to check out the Mental Health Hour tomorrow night at 6 p.m. All right. So, but again, with that being said, with this story here, just glad the 3-year-old boy's okay and safe, and the conductors did quick thinking to one of them just jump out to save the kid, and the other just frankly telling them, "Hey, shut this electric thing off. You know, there's a kid around here." So, and it ended out very positive. So that's awesome news up there in New York. So, hero conductor stops train to rescue 3-year-old boy lost on the tracks. And this is for Andy Corbally of the Good News Network for April 28th of 2023. Let's move on to story number 5, and let's go to something a little bit happy and on someone's maybe bucket list, or maybe going back to what she was doing. A great grandmother gets 90th birthday wish to ride a Harley again, courtesy of a biker gang. And this is from the Good News Network for April 29th of 2023. So, 90-year-old grandmother getting her wish to ride a Harley again. So this is going to be a fun story to read here. So let's get to the comments real quick. Let me jump up here, see if I miss anything else. Okay, Gemma says, I am actually studying to be able to qualify in mental health. I just submitted my first assessment. Nice. Congratulations, Gemma. Hope everything goes well. Hope everything goes well. See? Hey, soon there's gonna be one professional on the show. So we'll see. Fingers crossed, Gemma. Fingers crossed. Jim says, bravo to the conductor and the engineer. Exactly. Bravo to them. And let's see. Okay, so the rest was just chatter. So, but yeah, I wish you luck, Gemma, on that. All right, so if you guys are ready, let's go ahead and get started with our next story. Certifiable, maybe professional, not so much. That's true. Certified. Oh, certified. So that's good enough. Certified. Jim says, I'm going to hire Gemma as my therapist. The American healthcare system is in shambles. And you know what, Jim? You're right. It is in shambles. So sign me up too, Gemma. Jim will be number 1. I'll be number 2. We're taking the spots. We're taking the spots right now. So, but yes, our healthcare system is kind of crappy. So, all right. So if you guys are ready, we're going to go ahead and start story number 5 here of the great-grandmother 90th birthday riding a Harley. Here we go. A great-grandmother who is mad for motorcycles was granted her birthday wish to ride on the back of a Harley Davidson, a callback to her youth while celebrating turning 90. Fearless Brit Barbara Morris said she felt 21 again during her spin around town on the powerful American cruising bike. She mentioned to her family several years ago that if she made it to 90, she'd like to get back in the saddle one last time. She was left stunned when her sons arrived recently at her nursing home with members of a local biker group. Though wearing a dress, she had no concerns about straddling the bike right there on the spot before taking a trip with 13 other riders to a pub. Quote, I just felt the years melt away, said the great-grandmother of 6. It was just an incredible experience to feel the wind blowing in my face again. Barbara got her first motorcycle license as a teen in the 1950s. She's pictured below with her best friend, Mac. So there's Barbara and Mac there. Barbara was 18 on the back of a bike in 1953. That's a good picture there. The Harley Granny, right? Gemma says, I'm going to get some sleep now as I have workmen again tomorrow, dreading it. Oh, you saw this. That's right, because it's from Britain. Oh, nice. Glad she got to ride again. Exactly. So, well, you have a good night, Gemma. Thank you for stopping by. Really do appreciate you. And we will see you tomorrow on the Mental Health Hour. So, have a good night and a great day over there tomorrow. Over there in the UK. All right. So we're going to go ahead and continue on with the story here. Her granddaughter, Christy Harvey, 34, who helped organize the surprise for Barbara along with the local biker chapter of Widow's Sons, said the inspiring senior had a daredevil spirit and wasn't fazed by anything. Quote, my uncle said to her, you always said if you made it to 90, you wanted to go on a Harley. And then she said, oh my gosh, I can't believe you remembered that. So, there's Barbara again, I think part of the biker gang there. She's on the bike there. Barbara Morris with members of Widow's Son. So, there we go there. And she has the dress on. So, but she says, I'm getting on this bike with the dress on. So, how wild is that? Yes. Good night, Gemma. Much love to you too. Much love to you too. That was cool. Those guys brought her to the right. Yes, that's very, very cool. Very awesome. That's an awesome birthday gift. It seems like 90s people want to do one last time a little bit of a wild thing in their 90s. So the last I can remember was when I think Bush. I don't know if he was 90 though. Bush Senior was. I don't think he was 90. I think he was 80. He had a monumental birthday. He wanted to jump out the plane for the last time. So, I think I remembered that. I don't know how long ago that was. I don't know if that was in his 80s or his 80s, 70s, somewhere around there, when he jumped out the plane. So, for the last time. But anyway, they have to have one last wild adventure in life, which, hey, that's not bad. Always take life for granted. Let's continue on. Quote, she's got nerves of steel. She's not really afraid of anything. She's kind of from that generation that was made of tough stuff. Nothing really phases them. So I brought that up there. Barbara got her first bike, a Royal Enfield 350, when she was about 19 and used it to get around while in college. She quickly caught the bug for riding, which she then passed on the rest of her family. Quote, she always had a little bike that she nipped about on. Her 3 sons later all had motorbikes and a keen interest in motorbike racing in groups. To ride on a powerful Harley Davidson was made all the more special because she'd never been on one before. Chrissy explained how they brought in the staff at the Ambleside Bank residential home in Manchester to organize the surprise. Quote, they permed her hair and did her makeup and got her dressed up nicely. So this is a group photo right there of her and the biker gang there celebrating her 90. As we continue on, she can't see very well, so they had to take her right up to the bike, and when she realized what it was, her face was just a picture. She thought it was just a nice bike to look at, and when we actually told her she was going on, she was a bit speechless. She couldn't believe it. I'm going to scroll up to this picture here. So that's an amazing story to grant someone's wish. For them to remember, hey, at 90, I want to ride a Harley. And probably she didn't think, oh, they're not going to remember it. And they remembered it. And there she is on a Harley for her 90th birthday there. Harleys are rare in the UK. Yeah, they are. I think they are. Well, of course, you just said it there, so I wouldn't know. But it's an American bike, so I guess it can be very rare there. So, but just amazing to have that happen to her on her 90th birthday, and people remembered what she wanted to do on her 90th, and she gets to ride in a Harley, which is very amazing. And of course, this picture here of her and her best friend there just says a lot there. That she's a biker at heart, and is not afraid to get on that bike one more time. So kudos to the biker gang. Kudos to her family for remembering that. And I bet that was probably the best birthday she ever had as well. So great grandma gets 90th birthday wish to ride a Harley again, courtesy of a biker gang. And this is from the Good News Network for April 29th of 2023. As we move on to story number 6, we got one more story, and then we're going to go on to videos for this evening. And our next story, something, help out people, kind of people that are recovering from stuff. They got a special way of healing. And with this story, a revolutionary music therapy helps paralyzed man walk and talk again. It unlocked the brain. And this is from the Good News Network for April 30th of 2023. So this is going to be a good story here. So if you guys are ready, let's go ahead and get started with story number 6 of 7 for this evening. Here we go. A patient who was left almost completely paralyzed from a rare disease is now walking and talking again after a music therapist prescribed mindful listening to his favorite song every night, in this case, a tune by the Carpenters. 71-year-old Ian Palmer was struck down with Guillain-Barré syndrome last June, forcing him to spend 7 months in a hospital where he was unable to walk or speak properly. The rare condition happens when a person's own immune system attacks their body's motor nerves, causing muscle weakness and sometimes paralysis. Quote, it selectively targets the motor nerve cells, and you have to wait for them to regenerate, which in your 70s is quite worrying. I was in intensive care being suctioned 24 hours a day as I couldn't swallow. And this was leading to choking problems, and I had a nasogastric tube fitted for over 4 months. Wow. Ian's speech was affected by the syndrome because it caused damage to his larynx, the tunnel in the back of the throat where air passes through to create sounds. But when Ian was transferred to Sue Ryder Neurological Care Center, a state-of-the-art care unit in Lancashire, England, clinicians used music therapy techniques to overcome near total paralysis of his body. His specialist, Claire, taught him mindfulness techniques using his favorite records, and he began listening to the Carpenters each night. So there's Ian and Claire there, with their musical instruments right there as well. As we move on, Ian was admittedly skeptical, but he can now walk 2 miles a day and have conversations with his family after the exercises opened up his brain. He's never been very musical, so when Sue Ryder first suggested music therapy, he said, what good is that going to do? I'm a typical northern man, and I thought, what's a girl with a guitar going to do for me? Get me to the gym. But it really worked. Claire sat me down and explained the process. I learned that music is very unlike other therapies as it opens up all of the brain. She taught Ian to sing along note using his diaphragm to assist. Quote, I told her I don't even know where that is, but she explained that by calling on the diaphragm, you're training the brain so that it can be used other muscles too. It learns the pathways, it reopens them. Continuing on. Claire also got Ian to practice mindfulness techniques with some assistance from his favorite records. Quote, she wanted something I could relax to, and being of a certain age, the Carpenters was my choice. She asked me to do it before bed, and now I put the Carpenters on every night. She told me to push away the thoughts and just focus on the music. Ian, has since been discharged from the clinic, which also has locations around England and Scotland, said he was amazed at the difference music therapy had made to his experience. One of my goals was to walk through my front door, and I could take my headphones and go for a walk during my vocal exercises. There's been such a positive impact. Using his diaphragm, he also learned how to breathe more efficiently. My mom couldn't understand me when she first came to visit, but now I'm confident that the music therapy I received has more than dealt with it, and my voice has been able to join the rest of my body in recovery. And there might not have been a song choice than We've Only Just Begun. What a great story that is of Ian there, and musical therapy to recover from his paralysis. Just amazing. Amazing to hear that. Kind of odd too to think about that as well, but I guess music helps paralysis, I guess, as long as you're very focused and committed to it. And now singing, he got his voice back. He walks again and all of that, and now he's learning all of this stuff thanks to Claire, but I guess also thanks to the Carpenters as well. So very intriguing. Musical therapy. Think about that. Paralysis and musical therapy. Let's see if that could be a trend of get people out of paralysis. We'll see. We'll see about that. But that's an amazing story to read there. So and yeah, Jim, it's amazing. Very amazing. So revolutionary music therapy helps paralyzed man walk and talk again and unlock the brain. And this is from the Good News Network for April 30th of 2023. And now we are going to go on to our last story. And earlier we had two stories of children being rescued. This one here, a child rescues an adult here. So we're going to go vice versa here. And a hero 13-year-old grabs a steering wheel and stops a school bus after driver passes out. And this is from Andy Corbley of the Good News Network for May the 1st of 2023. So if you guys are ready, let's go ahead. This is our last positive story before we get to videos. And we're going to end this out on a good note here. And of course, in a heroic story as well. So here we go. A 7th grader in Warren, Michigan is being hailed as a hero after his quick thinking averted a disaster aboard a school bus. Lois E. Carter Middle Schooler Dylan Reeves hurried to grab the steering wheel and slam on the brakes as the bus was veering towards oncoming traffic. Moments after the bus driver began feeling lightheaded and lost consciousness. Bus-mounted camera footage revealed the driver losing control and Reeves jumping into action from a full 5 rows back before shouting to his classmates to call 911 immediately. Warren Consolidated Schools Superintendent Robert Livernois explained the situation in a news conference and said, "I could not be prouder of his efforts." He had the wherewithal to push the brake solely. likely in anticipation that the bus was full of passengers, added Livernois, saying that it was an extraordinary act of courage and maturity. After feeling lightheaded, the driver said on the intercom she was going to pull over for a moment, but never arrived at the pull-off area and instead began to drift into oncoming lane. Dylan's mother, Aretta Reeves, was understandably beaming with pride while her son was honored at the news conference. Quote, "To do something like this fills my heart, makes my heart skip a beat. To even watch that video again, I can't even express the proudness. I'm extremely proud of him." So, we're going to look at the video here of him in action, sailing the bus. And Jim says, a 13-year-old to the rescue. How cool is that? Exactly. And a school bus as well. So, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the video here. So, here we go. This is a great story. Saw the security cam video with that kid. Okay, so it has been nationally recognized there. So let's go ahead and take a look.
So, join me in a round of applause for this young man. In my 35 plus years of education, this was an extraordinary act of courage and maturity on his part. He jumped up from his seat, threw his backpack down, ran to the front of the bus, grabbed the steering wheel, and brought the bus to a stop in the middle of the road. And really smart, quick thinking on his feet. He made a huge difference these days.
Indeed he did. Very, very quick thinking in his part there to rush to that front of the bus. Seeing the driver unconscious, and he just got the steering wheel, put his foot on the brake, stopped the bus in the middle lane, and authorities came to the scene. So very, very quick and incredible thinking there of this 13-year-old Dylan. I think that was his name. So just good stuff. A very, very heroic thing for him to do there. And as a 13-year-old, again, quick thinking saved a lot of lives. So he will remember that for the rest of his life there. And applause to him as well. So a hero 13-year-old grabs steering wheel and stops school bus after driver passes out. And this is for Andy Corbally of the Good News Network for May 1st of 2023. That will be it for positive stories. And we're going to go now to positive videos. That's how we'll get ready to load up here. And again, tonight's positive videos, just going to be some motivational speeches. Pause for me there. Pause for me there. It's not going to pause for me. Okay, there we go. We got some motivational speeches this evening. Different topics, and probably going to be different speeches as well. So our first one is on focusing on your dream. The next one, if I can remember correctly, is on confidence. And the last one is to stop the negative self-thinking. So I thought I could do something that's kind of in a good order, I guess, and just for our inner selves to listen to. And also at the end of videos will be our quote segment as well. So Jim says going to help Ashley with homework. Great stories tonight. Have a great evening. Thank you, Jim, so much for being in here. And again, thank you for the resub for 16 months. Really do appreciate you, Jim. make sure to check again Jim tomorrow night on Callus at 10 p.m. Eastern, 10 or 11 p.m. Eastern. Over there, Jim in Chicagoland. Give him a follow, and I'll actually I'm gonna put out a shout out real quick. So yeah, just give Jim a follow. Great guy. All right. So there we go. So give him a follow, indeed. All right. So with that being said, no problem, Jim. No problem. All right, so with that being said, we're going to go ahead and start off our first video. Again, it's focusing on your dream. Different speeches here, but hopefully you guys will enjoy these motivational speeches coming up, because it has been a while since I just focused on motivational speeches on the video section. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and get started with it. So here we go.
Easy. And if they're coming easy, you're not dreaming big enough. Literally, dreams and goals, they should take sacrifice, blood, sweat, tears, absolute, total focus of pushing yourself. And if dreams and goals are coming easy, I submit to you, it's time for you to ratchet up what you're going after, because you can achieve more. Because without restraint, without struggle, without resistance, there's no growth. So you got to know why. You're dreaming your goal. Why do you want to be that? Because your why is important. Your why has to be bigger than the storm that's coming, the challenges that comes, because your why will be the roots that when adversity comes, as you're chasing down your dreams and your goals, and they're going to be tough, if you have a good why, no matter what happens, you will not quit, because quitting is not an option, because you have a why, you have a passion, you have a purpose. You're on a mission to achieve something. And nothing can knock you off course, because you have a good why. So having a dream and having a goal is important, but honestly, I say having your why is even more important, because having a dream and having a goal is like a buoy thrown out in the middle of the ocean. And if there's no weight, if there's no substance to that buoy, every storm, every wave of adversity, every struggle, it'll take that buoy anywhere. But when you put an anchor down, and your why is the anchor, no storm can knock you off.
When you have a dream, and the dream isn't something you dream and then it happens, the dream is something you never knew was going to come into your life. Dreams always come from behind you, not right between your eyes. It sneaks up on you. But when you have a dream, it doesn't often come at you screaming in your face, this is who you are, this is what you must be for the rest of your life. Sometimes a dream almost whispers. The hardest thing to listen to, your instincts, your human personal intuition, always whispers, it never shouts. Very hard to hear. So you have to, every day of your lives, be ready to hear what whispers in your ear. It very rarely shouts. And if you can listen to the whisper, and if it tickles your heart, and it's something you think you want to do for the rest of your life, then that is going to be what you do for the rest of your life, and we will benefit from everything you do.
I want you to write this down. I need to embrace the suffering. You know, there's something powerful that once you just sort of embrace the fact that in order to achieve something big, you've got to get rid of these distractions. And then the other layer of it is you're probably going to have some suffering to get there, or some sacrifice to get there. And so once you've embraced and decided that this suffering, this sacrifice you're making is an indicator of progress. It's an indicator of obsession. Suffering and sacrifice and hard work is an indication of progress towards our dreams. The price you will pay, the suffering you will go through to make your dream come true is incredibly small, infinitely smaller than the price you will pay if you never do. You'll pay that one the rest of your life. And so ask yourself what you're willing to risk. What's the price you're willing to pay? Because what most people do when they're trying to chase their dream or their big outcome, the whole time they're negotiating the price in their head. And what happens is, if you don't negotiate that price in advance, it's going to steal your focus and energy and become another distraction. One of the great distractions of chasing our dreams is this thing that goes off in our head as we're negotiating the price we're paying.
A lot of us have the wrong relationship with failure. A lot of us are afraid to fail. Unfortunately and fortunately, it's a part of the process. If you can change that relationship that you have with failure, you're going to realize that you're going to reach your goals, your vision, your dreams a lot faster than you would if you try to avoid failing. If you try to avoid the obstacles, the bumps, the bruises. Let it become a part of the process. It's hard to visualize it that and actually enjoy the hurt and pain that comes along with failure. But it actually allows you to savor and embrace successes more. Because you know what's on the other side. You know what's on the other road. You know what it's like to fail. And if you're not reaching and going for just the dreams and goals that are big enough to actually fail, then you're just cutting yourself short.
I believe that as long as I was breathing, there was hope, and that good choices and valuing people, nothing could stop me. Value people, respect people, appreciate people, and work hard. If you do those two things, nothing can stop you. I promise you. Hard work will always bring opportunities. Hard work will always position you in life for you to succeed. Don't become complacent because it's easy. Continue to challenge yourself. If it's easy for some of you, don't become complacent. Continue to find set goals, raise the bar, raise the expectation. But then don't be afraid to fail either, because failure is okay. It's not about you being perfect. It's about growth and development, and every single day that when you look in the mirror, can you say that you gave today 120% of you? And maybe that 120% of you made some mistakes and you zigged when you should have zagged, but I guarantee if you allow it to, you can learn instead of zigging when you were supposed to zag. Next time you'll get it right. It's all perspective. It's all about learning how to be better, to achieve better, to become better.
And a lot of times, I don't think people are actually afraid of failing, but we're afraid of how others are going to respond to us failing. Don't allow them to consume your heart, your soul, your mind. Don't allow them to make you worried about failing. It's a part of the process. The most successful people on the planet, the most successful people in the world have failed and are going to continue to fail. But they just got up and they kept on pushing. You don't truly fail unless you stop and quit. Bottom line. You really, truly, truly do not fail unless you stop or quit. And you're not a quitter, and you're not going to stop. You're going to keep going, you're going to keep pushing, you're going to get to where you want to go.
All right, so that was our first video of focusing on your dream. And to break down that, what I've learned from that video is the beginning. The guy talked about why. Why are you pursuing what you want as your dream? You got to know your whys. But also the main thing is your sacrifice, the work you put in, the hard work, and also the struggles. Struggles can happen, and struggles can also be a sign of a positive, like, hey, you're trying to work forward into creating this dream or this opportunity you're trying to do. I heard friendships as well. Sometimes if you have people that can help you out, they can help you push forward as well to create your dreams and your opportunities. So, straightforward video there with the different speeches there, but I think the main part is knowing why you want to do it, and then once you're doing it, if you have the hard work, if you have the sacrifice, if you have the struggles, and if you have the people that can push you along forward, you will be set up to a great destiny for your dreams and your opportunities. So that was a good first video there of those speeches there. And now we're going to go on to our second one, confidence. Confidence is everything. So we're doing the whole dream scenario now, the opportunities. Now you got to have your confidence. In our next set of quotes and speeches here, we're going to talk about confidence. And before that, I want to say hi to Joe. Cup of Joe for you in the house. So good to see you in here. Thank you for the one raid. I know why you got that one raid to build up your points, but so glad to see you in here. Thank you so much for being in here. So if you guys are ready, let's go ahead and continue on with our second video for this evening of confidence.
Is organized to reflect everything you know in your life. Your brain is a record of the past. It's an artifact of everything you've learned and experienced at this moment. Feelings and emotions are the end product of past experiences, and we can remember experiences better because we remember how they feel. So most people wake up in the morning and they start remembering all their problems, and those problems are connected to certain people and certain things at certain times and places. The moment they start thinking about those problems, they're thinking in the past. Those problems have an emotion associated with them, and the moment they start feeling those emotions, the body, as the unconscious mind, doesn't know the difference between an experience that's creating an emotion and the emotion the person's fabricating by thought alone. Now, thoughts are the language of the brain, and feelings are the language of the body. And how you think and how you feel creates your state of being. So most people's entire state of being, when they start their day, is already in the past. So you have a choice. The choice is you're either defined by a vision of the future or you're defined by the memories of the past. And when you decide to say, okay, I'm going to change, and you decide one thing, I'm not going to eat this food, I'm going to wake up earlier, whatever choice a person makes, the moment you make a choice to do something differently, and the hardest part about change is not making the same choices you did the day before, get ready. Because it's going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to feel unfamiliar. There's going to be some uncertainty and unpredictability. And that's the moment the game is on.
Anger is really seductive. I mean, you feel so self-righteous. But what's happening is your amygdala is driving your prefrontal cortex. So you're going to do something or say something you're going to regret later, most likely. And the way to manage that is it's really a case study in impulse control. These are emotional impulses. What's happening is the amygdala is hijacking your prefrontal cortex when you get angry. And if you can be self-aware, you can feel it coming on, and you can tell yourself, I'm getting angry again. When you do that, when you name it to yourself, you actually shift the energy from your subcortical networks, the amygdala and so on, to your prefrontal area, the thinking brain. And it gives you the ability to be more likely to short-circuit the anger. Diminishes the rage rush, and that is cognitive control, which is the ability to manage your emotional impulses. One thing that increases cognitive control, there are many, but one that does is meditation, mindfulness. Developing the capacity to watch what's going on in your mind. So you can tell yourself, I'm getting angry now. The very fact you can say that to yourself sends the momentum in another direction, actually literally into different brain circuits. And that's going to diminish the intensity and also going to help you be more resilient. Resilience is measured as the peak of arousal in the brain, and anger is very arousing, to getting back to baseline, to calm.
Most people, their body has been conditioned emotionally to be the mind. The body says, wow, I'd rather hang on to my guilt than take a chance and possibility. I'd rather live in fear than trust in the unknown. So once the person feels uncomfortable, the body goes, whoa, wait a second, we're out of the program here, and body starts influencing the mind.
That's right.
So it says, start tomorrow, you'll never change, you don't have the money to do this, you're not good enough, your mother told you were this, your father's fault, it's your ex's fault, all of the voices that come up. Now here's the deal, if you respond to those voices, those same thoughts as if they're true, by the way, they're always going on behind the scenes of your awareness, but now they're amplified because you're outside your comfort zone. You believe in that thought's going to lead to the same choice, which is going to lead to the same behavior, which is going to create the same experience and produce the same emotion, and the person's going to say, this feels right. No, that feels familiar. Going from the old self to the new self is a neurological, it's a biological, it's a chemical, it's a hormonal, it's a genetic death of the old self. And people will say to me, in that void, in that unknown, I can't predict my future. And I'll say to them, the best way to predict your future is to create it. Not from the known, but from the unknown. I love it. So close your eyes now and think about that vision.
Well, the function of worrying, positive worrying, is to mull over a dilemma or a problem or a frustration, and which often, by the way, have to do with relationships, it turns out, and to come up with something you can do that might improve the situation. That's the function of worrying. Worrying is getting you to pay attention to the problem. The difficulty is when worrying becomes rumination.
Sure.
In rumination, you just play the same loop over and over and over again and never come up with a solution. But it becomes dysfunctional very easily. And one sign of the dysfunction is you're thinking the same thing over and over again. That's what you want to break. That's when worry turns into anxiety. And anxiety just doesn't help. If you can change things, why worry? And if you can't change things, why worry?
Once you start thinking about that vision of your future, you're activating the creative centers in your brain. And naturally, you begin to think about putting yourself in the scene.
Yes.
And the act of doing that, when you're truly passionate and truly present, the moment you're defined by that vision, when the thought in your mind becomes the experience, you begin to feel the emotion of the event before it's made manifest.
Yes.
Now, you're giving your body a sampling, a taste of the future. And now, if a thought and a feeling create a new state of being, you're combining a clear intention with an elevated emotion, and now you're beginning to change your biology, and you're seeing a whole new landscape that you could never see before because you're no longer viewing your future through the lens of the past. This requires then something really specific, because most people will wait for their wealth to feel abundance. They'll wait for their success to feel empowered. So think about that. The absence of getting those things causes people to live in lack their entire life. And so they're waiting for something outside of them to change how they feel inside of them. And if they're not creating a new life, then they're not applying the proper principles, then they keep all their manifestations, all their dreams at arm's length. Think about this. If you get up feeling gratitude, if you get up feeling empowered, if you get up feeling whole, if you get up feeling unlimited, why would you worry about whether it was going to come or not? You would feel like it already happened.
So worrying actually serves no function. One thing you can do is name what's going on. Oh, I'm caught in worry. When you say that, you're shifting the energy from the circuitry in the subcortical part of the brain, which carries the worry, and it's a salience network. This is important, think about it. You're shifting it to the prefrontal cortex, which can see that this is not that useful. The quicker that is, the quicker your recovery, the more resilient you are. Resilience is the opposite of getting stuck in rage or anxiety. It means that you can break out of that particular emotional state and get back to a state where you're calm and clear.
Alrighty, so that was our second video of 3 of the motivational speeches here, and that is of confidence. And just to I guess kind of clarify it in a way that I have learned after this commercial goes away here. Pretty much in confidence is more of the thinking aspect of it. We sometimes worry about stuff. Remember, our first video is accomplishing goals. So the one thing you don't want to have is worry. I mean, you will have some worry, and I guess that can be fitted into struggling, but worry could be a bad thing for confidence, because it makes you think it's not going to happen, it's not going to work, you're going to get deterred away from it. And the best thing to do with that is keep the positive gas, keep that engine going of trying to get that goal to obtained instead of having setbacks. Sometimes stuff, that we worry about, we shouldn't be worried about. It could be a problem that could be easily solved, but worrying will deter you away from having that confidence in obtaining stuff. So it's just kind of like you gotta have a deep breath and be like, hey, everything's gonna be all right. So, and just have that confidence that everything's gonna be all right. Everything's gonna be okay. Sometimes it will be a while to obtain your goal, but everything will be all right as long as I said in the first video, you have your hard work, you're focused on it. And again, one of the guys said you will have struggles, but struggles can mean progress as well. And also having people to support you to obtain that goal. So as long as you have that and keep a mind set on your confidence, everything will be all right. And with that, we're going to put this last one, stop negative self-thinking. It kind of correlates to confidence there. So this is a little bit longer, and this is from Eddie Pinero. So I think this is he's going to be saying some of these random speeches as well. Nancy's in here. So good to see Nancy in here. Worry doesn't change anything. It just robs you of time and happiness. Exactly, Nancy. So good to see you in here, Nancy. So good to see you in here. So we're going to play this video of stop negative self-thinking speeches here. And after that, we're going to play quotes, and that will be our show from this evening. So hopefully you enjoyed this last round of motivational speeches here before we get to quotes. So here we go. And make sure I'm...
Don't think so much. You might overlook the obvious. You might see past all that you've achieved. Don't move so quickly. You might overstep the moment. You might miss all the beauty you're creating. One can wake up, get dressed, walk out the door thinking that they're on their way to a someday achievable, brilliant finale, and simultaneously fail to understand the miracle of the now. It's in what you're doing now, who you're helping now, what you're becoming now. Your miracle is now. And you can't see your impact because it materializes behind you as your back is to it and you step toward those distant horizons. There's a direct link between always wanting to be better and never feeling like you're good enough. If you don't properly compartmentalize the two, you'll always be chasing something you can't obtain while you walk right by the brilliance you're piecing together in real time. That carrot just outside of reach for the runner on the treadmill. And I'm not saying your goals and aspirations aren't incredible. I'm not saying you aren't one in a million. I'm not saying you won't shock, change, add unparalleled value to the world. No, that's most certainly possible. But I'm saying you're doing that now, too. Like, right now. You're not on a trajectory to someday be one in a million. You are one in a million on a trajectory to live life fully, to further expand, explore, as you should. But let's not lose perspective along the way. It's hard to watch someone who has changed your life feel like they're not good enough. It just is. It's hard to watch something so beautiful feel like they must first evolve before they're worthy. And it's like, sure, I get it. We celebrate visible, tangible successes, the innovators and CEOs, world-class talents, people who have built the present and will build the future. But notice, there are no ceremonies for the ones who lift others up every day, who lead by example, who show up again and again when they're going through their own private hell. There are no record books for them. But I'll tell you what, if there were, you'd be there. And if I could remind you of that every day, I would. The small things you do not feel so small to those around you. In fact, your mere existence changed my life, and I know I'm not alone, not even close to alone. It's a tough world we live in. Tough enough to bring even the strongest amongst us to our knees. Yet you think you're flawed and insufficient. I ask, compared to what? A lot of people would have folded a long time ago. Wouldn't be fighting for a dream or standing for anything. A lot of people wouldn't be giving so much of themselves. Again, I continuously run into this question. Why is it that the ones who are changing the world, not with their social media follower count, but with their actions, so often fail to see their own value? Perhaps they're using the wrong measuring sticks. Maybe their sights are set so high they don't realize all that they're making better along the way. Maybe they don't know that every soul they light up puts in motion a ripple effect, an exponential value add. But if you just lift your head up and look around, you would see quite the ripple effect. You would see quite the chain reaction. You would see that you are not just working towards change, you are actively embodying it. Don't be the only one who can't see that. Why do I say this? Why spend the time? Well, because one, I think it's not something we say enough. The ones who truly change us or make our lives better need to be told that. There's just something tragic about keeping it to ourselves. And two, because you don't give yourself enough credit. You're blind to the path you've traveled and the dragons you've slayed. I couldn't believe my ears when you apologized for being weak. Weak? Weak is retreating. Weak is being selfish. Weak is forfeiting your gifts. Those descriptors are antithetical to who you are. And sure, we all slip into them once in a while. We're human beings. We all endure our valleys of despair. But to fight with everything you have on your way back up, that is not weakness. That's courage. I think our definitions might be crossed here. See, I'm a firm believer that absolutely we have to be our own greatest critics, no doubt. But the value in that, the expectation, is that it's coupled with a commitment to also be our own greatest allies. Are you? Are you your own greatest ally? Because sometimes I'm not so sure. Do you see how much light you bring to the world? How much better people around you are when you enter a room and smile, when you listen to them and their problems, when you inspire them by making decisions with so much at stake, when you don't let the hardship of your past keep you down. And I know how hard it's been. I'm telling you this because maybe you don't know. Maybe you talk so much about what the future will be and how big and incredible things will become that you overlook the parallel worlds you are creating with each step along the way, a pilgrim, a wanderer in search of an impact you are already making. So look, keep your head up and your expectations high. You will do remarkable things. But don't be afraid to look over your shoulder and see that you already are. Don't beat yourself up for not yet arriving at an imaginary place while you change the world along the way. Give yourself the same grace and compassion you would give to me. Allow that for yourself. Don't think so much that you overlook the obvious. You just might see past all that you've achieved. And don't move so quickly that you overstep the moment. You might just miss all that beauty that you're creating. This isn't a pep talk. This is me holding up a mirror so that you can see the value add. You're not merely an IOU to some future self. You are all the people around you whose lives you make better every day, the lives you touch by being you. There's a quote that states, life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. Which means that your reaction is drastically more important than the circumstance. And that's critical to know. It's critical to understand that nothing, no one in life has more power over your own situation than you. And there's an old story that hits on this point exactly. There's a father and a daughter. And basically the daughter's complaining. She's complaining about life, how difficult things are. She doesn't know how she's going to make it in whatever it is she's doing. I mean, the bottom line is she's tired of the day-to-day, right? And her father gets this idea. He says, come with me into the kitchen. And he gets 3 pots of water, puts them on the stove, and turns the burners on. As soon as they start boiling, he drops a potato in the first one, an egg in the second one, and some coffee beans in the third one. And after some time goes by and they boil a little bit, he pulls them out, right? He puts the potato in a bowl, he puts the egg in a bowl, and he takes a ladle and he puts some of the coffee in a cup. And he says, what do you see? She says, well, I see a potato, I see eggs, and I see coffee. He says, yeah, but look closer, there's more there. And she goes and she touches the potato and it's now soft. And he hands her the bowl with the boiled egg. And she takes the shell off and breaks it open. She sees that it's hard inside. Then finally he asks her to take a sip of the coffee. And, she smells it. She takes a sip. A smile comes to her face. She says, so what does all this mean? What are you trying to say? And he says, well, the potato, when I dropped it in the water, it was rigid. It was tough. It was uncompromising. But in the boiling water, it became soft, weak. Then you have the egg that was basically the opposite. This delicate layer protecting a liquid center, and the boiling water made it hard. And then there was the coffee. That wasn't just changed by the situation. It created something new. It took the same adversity and used it as a lever to bring something beautiful into existence. He then looks at his daughter and says, look, when things become challenging, when things become difficult, which one are you? What's your approach? See, maybe the question is not about how challenging the situation is, right? Maybe we've been asking the wrong question. Maybe it's, how do you transform yourself and by default, the world around you? How do you take your strengths, your values, your loves, your joys, your happiness, and let that lead you into something bigger? When life gets hard, and it does, what do you become? I always remind myself, we are not defined by life at peak state. As much as I wish that were the case, right? We're not shaped by the easy days or the times that we floated by. Because those times are great, they're enjoyable, but they're not what make or break us. It's the times that challenge us and ask us to be what we have not yet become. That's the good stuff. And this is another one of those, simple but not easy type things, because on paper it makes sense, it's understood. But it's an outlook that manifests over time. It's slowly stacked piece by piece and brick by brick, realizing that every situation provides you with tools to make something out of an apparent nothing. And then it waits, right? Because fate is in your hands. And I can certainly think of, times in my life, that's one of the reasons I love these stories. I can reflect where each one of those pots of boiling water was relevant, right? I can think of times I was too headstrong, like the metaphorical potato. I thought success would be easy. I thought projects would be simple to execute. I spent months doing things that just weren't good because I didn't ask, what does the world need? I asked myself, what do I want to give the world? And there has to be a marriage there, right? And it was a quick reminder that the world owes me nothing. I was humbled or softened, as the story goes. I've been the egg, I've been timid, I've been uncertain, thin-skinned, worrying about what people would say or the content I was creating, worried about perception. How would things look if I failed? And very quickly, I learned that when life is a game of comparison or one-upmanship, when you do things for reasons and people other than yourself, can't win. you overcompensate. You do things for the wrong reasons and you lose yourself. You become hardened. And then there's the good stuff, right? Getting to the coffee, not bowing down to the circumstances, but shaping them. Not letting life dictate how the story goes or the fate of your character. And what's interesting is I'm pretty sure that being that metaphorical egg and the potato, they lay the foundation to become the coffee, the life lessons, the falling down, the picking my ego up off the floor, learning to trust myself, not be led by the opinions and expectations of others. You essentially learn that you can take the world around you and change it, that it is malleable, it is flexible. You have that power. You have that ability. It's up to you to believe it. And that's critical because no one comes along and co-signs that understanding for you. It's an internal process. You start to learn that things aren't there to provide instruction. They're there to propel you. But can you see the unknown as the opportunity, the obstacle as the way, and the loss as the armor that you pick up during the journey? And so, all of these words essentially come to one point. And that point is you have so much more control over your life than you think you do. As I've said before, you are stronger than you think you are. You are more resilient than you can even imagine. And when life tests you, and again, it will, remember that the challenges are not happening to you, but for you. The world isn't taking away what you have, it's giving you what you need. So long as you're willing to adapt with it, to grow, expand out, because you not only have the ability to change yourself, but the world as well.
That's an amazing, powerful message there by Eddie Pinero there. Two good, wonderful, good speeches there of stopping the negative thinking. Let me get through this commercial here again. I don't speak through it, but pretty much sums up what we said about the confidence and the we had the goals on the first video. It just sums it up, but in a better way. Don't overthink yourself. Think about the future. Don't look back. And that thing with the coffee, the egg, and the now I forgot the coffee and the egg. That's an amazing metaphor to think about putting those three in a potato, egg, and coffee. Putting that all in, and that describes how difficult life can be, or how things can be, and your ways to sorting it out to become that coffee. So, those are two really, really great speeches there, and I'm with Nancy. It should be shown in high school because those were very, very, very awesome speeches that Mr. Eddie did there. So, kudos to him to close out the speeches with that. I thought that would be kind of a good closure to the motivational speeches, and I'm kind of glad I brought that back. Just having those three videos there, motivational speeches there, because I haven't done like seven speeches in a while. So, but I hope you guys enjoyed that. So now we're on our last video. Of course, we're going to close out with quotes, and these are random quotes from Greek philosophers. So we got Socrates here, coming up, and then a whole bunch of others are coming up. So hope you guys enjoy it. 12 minutes long, and then after that, we're going to close the show out. Nancy says kids need positive reinforcement. I agree. They really do need the positive reinforcement. Let me close that back. I can mute my mic. So, but I agree. They do. They do need to put that more in schools. Because they really do. They really do, especially now. So, but anyway, so let's go ahead with quotes here, and then we're gonna go ahead and close out our show. All right. So here we go.
Minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. Weak minds discuss people. Be silent, or let thy words be worth more than silence. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we should listen more than we say. Man conquers the world by conquering himself. Steel your sensibilities, so that life shall hurt you as little as possible. Thou shouldst eat to live, not live to eat. By all means, marry. If you get a good wife, you'll become happy. If you get a bad one, you'll become a philosopher. Smart people learn from everything and everyone. Average people from their experiences. Stupid people already have all the answers. Small-minded people blame others. Average people blame themselves. The wise see all blame as foolishness. Whatever they think of you, do what you think is fair. Man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems. Everywhere, man blames nature and fate, yet his fate is mostly but the echo of his character and passion, his mistakes and his weaknesses. Do not spoil what you have by desiring what you have not. Remember that what you now have was once among the things you only hoped for. Circumstances don't make the man. They only reveal him to himself. The oldest, shortest words, yes and no, are those which require the most thought. None can be free who is a slave to, and ruled by, his passions. Never discourage anyone who continually makes progress, no matter how slow, even if that someone is yourself. Employ your time in improving yourself by other men's writings, so that you shall gain easily what others have labored hard for. Reality is created by the mind. We can change our reality by changing our mind. There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. Be careful whom you associate with. It is human to imitate the habits of those with whom we interact. We inadvertently adopt their interests, their opinions, their values, and their habit of interpreting events. False words are not only evil in themselves, but they infect the soul with evil. Rest satisfied with doing well, and leave others to talk of you as they please. A man is never as big as when he is on his knees to help a child. He is richest who is content with the least, for content is the wealth of nature. Mankind is made of two kinds of people: wise people who know they're fools, and fools who think they are wise. Men should strive to think much and know little. If you do not take an interest in the affairs of your government, then you are doomed to live under the rule of fools. A wise man speaks because he has something to say. A fool because he has to say something. I count him braver who overcomes his desires than him who conquers his enemies, for the hardest victory is over self. In old age, we all regret not having killed laziness in ourselves. I never desired to please the rabble. What pleased them, I did not learn, and what I knew was far removed from their understanding. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. He who laughs at himself never runs out of things to laugh at. When we blather about trivial things, we ourselves become trivial, for our attention gets taken up with trivialities. You become what you give your attention to. Necessity is the strongest of things, for it rules everything. Hope is the only good that is common to all men. Those who have nothing else possess hope still. A fool is known by his speech, and a wise man by silence. Let him that would move the world first move himself. In anger, we should refrain both from speech and action. The greatest way to live with honor in this world is to be what we pretend to be. Don't judge your greatness by your shadow at sunset. From the deepest desires often come the deadliest hate. Beware the barrenness of a busy life. Do not chase after happiness. It is always in you. He is a man of courage who does not run away, but remains at his post and fights against the enemy. The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. Happiness resides not in possessions and not in gold. Happiness dwells in the soul. In childhood, be modest. In youth, temperate. In adulthood, just. And in old age, prudent. By desiring little, a poor man makes himself rich. Lack of activity destroys the good condition of every human being. No one is more hated than he who speaks the truth. Do not trust all men, but trust men of worth. The former, of course, is silly, the latter a mark of prudence. The right question is usually more important than the right answer. Courage is the first of human qualities because it is the quality that guarantees others. What it lies in our power to do, it lies in our power not to do. Let no one be slow to seek wisdom when he is young, nor weary in the search of it when he has grown old. For no age is too early or too late for the health of the soul. The misfortune of the wise is better than the prosperity of the fool. Death does not concern us, because as long as we exist, death is not here. And when it does come, we no longer exist. The aim of the wise is not to secure pleasure, but to avoid pain. If thou wilt make a man happy, add not unto his riches, but take away from his desires. The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. A ship should not ride on a single anchor, nor life on a single hope. No man ever steps in the same river twice, for it's not the same river if he's not the same man. Do not marry after 40, because marriage is not provided by nature. A confident person avoids two things in life: idle gossip and petty conflicts, choosing instead to cultivate understanding and foster harmony. Those who aim at great deeds must also suffer greatly. It is not so much our friends' help that helps us, as the confidence of their help. A bad feeling is a commotion of the mind, repugnant to reason and against nature. Once made equal to man, woman becomes his superior. Our sins are more easily remembered than our good deeds. The wrongdoer is more unfortunate than the man wronged.
All right, so those were the philosopher quotes there to end our broadcast, and just the one that stuck out from Sorites there. You have a good wife or something about that, but if you a good marriage, something, but if a bad marriage, you become a philosopher. So I guess Sorites didn't have a very good marriage, I see. Found a couple of his quotes funny anyway, so I don't know. He had to be like a kind of a jokester back then. But anyway, those were good quotes, though. Good quotes. Some good, some negative. I know Nancy said she disagreed with one of them, but it is what it is. I was going to reply to your. I've learned about hanging out with people who are positive and uplift you. I'm waking away from a lot these days. Yes. So I was about to reply. I said, yeah, these days, you got, walking. You got your good people, you got your bad people. It's hard nowadays. You got to find who's the right person, that can give you the uplift, that can push you forward, that gives you encouragement and all of that. That's what's going on these days. We got the carefully pick our people. So that's kind of sad to say, but it's also true. So it is what it is, but hopefully we can just pick, hopefully the person that, that can encourage you on in life. You play in the mud, you're going to get dirty. Exactly. You play in the mud, you're going to get dirty. Right. So, but, so those were the quotes there. And that's the end of the show as well. So, appreciate you guys being here so much. Let's close out the show real quick. And I got to pull up one thing while I'm doing that to close up, because actually they'll be the first ones I'll plug here. Give me just a second here. Hopefully it'll load up, and because I got a little bit of a long picture here. Oh, and the train's going through too, so you might hear a train. No problem, Nancy. No problem. All right, there we go. So let's see if I can pull this plug here real quick here. The Mental Health Hour. Tim and Gemma. Gemma was in here earlier. I thank her so much for being in here. Check them out tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. UK. Again, great guys. There's the train. Hold on for a second. All right, I think we might be good. Again, Gemma was in here earlier. I thank her for being in here. I know it's a little late in the UK, but she stopped by and listened to one of the stories. But Tim and Gemma, they know their stuff in the Mental Health Hour. Again, they're not trained professionals, but any topic that they have, they will try to tackle it in the best of their abilities. So, so this coming tomorrow night, they're going to do domestic abuse. So make sure to tune in on Tim's channel there. I'll give Tim a shout out as well. It will be on his channel. But make sure to check out the Mental Health Hour tomorrow night. Again, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Come on. There we go. 3 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. UK, as stated there. And it's on Tim Conrad's channel there, a great supporter here on A Ray of Sunshine, as well as Jim, who was in here earlier as well. Again, check out Catalyst tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. It might be 11 now, 10 through 11. It could be 11. And also Saturday Night Trivia. He is on hiatus with that for the next 2 Saturdays, so check him out May 20th. He will bring back Saturday Night Trivia after he does this beer fest. I think he has a couple of beer fests going on the next couple Saturdays. So make sure to tune in May 20th when trivia comes back. And kind of like, he had a DC attractions category on there, and I work Saturdays, so I kind of was like, I want to answer my own hometown questions. But anyway, so all right. But the Mental Health Hour, that's a great ad that Gemma did there, and they're going to talk about domestic abuse. So they do talk about serious topics, so I do want to bring that about on that one. And also my Discord. If you have not followed my Discord, make sure you do so. I post all the stories that were featured tonight on there, past stories as well. I even got a little quotes section for my calendar here. I think today's from Mala. We were scared, but our fear was not as strong as our courage. So get a little preview from the calendars here of quotes. So make sure to subscribe to my Discord. And I should be back next Tuesday night at 8 p.m. in case I have anything planned come up. If I do, I'll let you know on Discord, and I'll let you know on Twitter as always. but always the goal is try to be back next Tuesday night to bring you more positive stories and positive videos. And I'm actually getting close to ending season 3 as well. So we'll see. I'm on 26 right now. I was thinking of just doing 30 and just calling it, that will be the season. So we'll see. I'm looking towards the end of May and the beginning of June to probably close out the season. So I'll let you know in the confirmation for that. But starting all the way back from October till now, we had some great stories, and I kind of like this new format that I did just to put the stories and the videos together to collab it into one show. So, but I'm thinking probably the end of this season will probably be the end of May or the beginning of June. So we'll see how that goes. And need a summer break. Exactly, Nancy. Yes, have a summer break. And I also got a lot to think about as well. That's going on. So that's kind of why I'm thinking about how I'm going to end the season here. And I'm trying not to let this be like the last season, but there's a lot of stuff that's going on afterwards here. So we'll see how that goes. So, but kind of I need a summer break to think about stuff. So, but I'm thinking end of May to the beginning of June. We'll see. We'll end out season 3, so I can have a free mind of what's going to come next. A break, a vacation. I need a vacation, but also to plan out some stuff for the future for me as well. Sorry to hear about that. Oh no, you're good. Hey, it's life. Sometimes it's life. So we'll see what's going on. We'll see what happens. But yeah, we'll see what happens during the summer break, and of course I'll keep y'all up to date to what's going to go on, what's going to happen, and all of that stuff to me, and what do I see myself focusing on in the future with this show, as well as we close out season 3. But I really do appreciate your support, though. Not for this show, the past 3 seasons, going from Haps to now Twitch, and I really do appreciate you guys so much. So we'll see. Again, it's early. I'll think about what I will do. I could, once I get this main thing situated, we'll see where I will focus my drive with the show in the upcoming future. All right. I'm going to try to do a music quiz on May 20th on Twitter. That's a Saturday. I work on Saturday. But you should, Nancy. You should. You're good on your music quizzes. You have a whole variety of stuff on your music quizzes. So I think you should do it. You should do it. And May 19th, I work May 19th as well. But it's fine. A Friday, yeah. But you should do it. And now Fridays are kind of open now on Twitter since Christina's not doing the streaming on Fridays no more. Well, we'll say no more. She said she was going to come back, but we don't know when. So, but yeah, Fridays are kind of now open now. It'll be a matter of whether I can sit upright for an hour or two. Yeah, imagine me. Look at me. I'm sitting up here for 2 hours. Sometimes I have to run to the bathroom, just to get up for a bit. But yeah, success for an hour. That should be good. Well, darn, sorry you'll be working. No, you're good. You're good, Nancy. Hey, you're good. You're gonna have a good crowd. You're gonna have a good crowd for your quiz. So I'll be there in support, though. Hopefully, I'll catch a replay and I'll be there in support. For you there. All right. So with that being said, to close that out and kind of got probably near the end of where this season's going to go. I'm still evaluating my knee. It's still swollen. Oh man. Well, hopefully, still sending your prayers on that knee. in that surgery that you had. So, hopefully all will be well. Hopefully they can, if you have any more doctor's appointments, they could take that swelling down on the knee there. But I think everything will be all right. I think everything will be all right. It's just going to be a little bit of time, but I think everything will be all right to me. So, but yeah. But again, I want to thank you, Nancy, for being here. Jim, Gemma, Cup of Joe, Tony was in here. He might have just left, but Tony was in here, and anybody else that just came on, thank you so much for being in here. And again, I'll try to be on next Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, here on my channel, my Twitch channel. Should I rate any? I might just close it out tonight, actually. I might just close it out tonight. I could rate this. Oh, Uke's on. Oh, we're going to rate Uke. Thanks, PT twice a week and 2 to 3 times a day exercise. Okay, gotcha. Guys, Uke has not been on in I don't know how long. We are going to rate Uke Berry. She has not been on in I don't know how long. That's right, I chose you over. How long has she been on? That was kind of a surprise that she's on. Alright, hold on. Boop, boop, boop. I want to try to catch her before she goes off because she likes to go off for some reason. So we're going to rate Uke. She has not been on Twitch. She came back a few days ago. Okay, because I only catch her on Clubhouse. She's just been on Clubhouse most of the time. She was like, I don't know if I want to be on Twitch, and now she's on Twitch. We're going to rate Uke. Give her a little surprise raid here. So, again, thank you guys so much for being in here, and I really do appreciate you guys. And remember to stay positive, be safe, be kind to one another. And you dropped Clubhouse, yeah. For some reason, I just kept it because of her, in case she came on, and I did catch her, I think a couple weeks ago on Clubhouse. So, I kind of kept it just for her, in case she's just on Clubhouse. But other than that, anybody else, I would have just deleted the app. So, but the raid's going on. I'm going to go ahead and close out the show. Thank you again, Nancy, for being here. Hopefully everything goes well with the knee. And catch Nancy out on Twitter Live, May 19th. For her music quiz Friday night. Make sure to check her out, all right? Want to close out the show? Take care, everybody, and have a great night or a great day wherever you're in the parts of the world.